This baby underway.
I didn't even get the noti yet, bro.
Nah, it's cool. Yeah, you just gotta give it a second.
Oh, I got it.
Alright. You got it?
Oh, I'm about to kick. I'm about to mute my mic. Hold on.
Alright, bro.
He about to kill it. He said, I'm about to kill it.
Stop it. Gakwe in the building. Thank you for tuning in, bro. Just we'll be starting this real shortly.
Bro.
We're waiting for the link to be posted, and then we're gonna get this shit cracking. Alright,
See you, Gakwe. What's up, bro?
Thanks for tuning in. Alright, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Season 1 finale recap of the LBL CFM franchise. This is your host with the most, Boogie by J1, aka J Dilla. You know what to do. Welcomed here by, of course, the LBC, the Lost Boy Committee. Please introduce yourselves.
Hoodie Mikey, obviously. And I guess Percocet, since he muted his mic.
Yeah, of course, man. You know we couldn't go into Season 2 without leaving and dropping you guys a whole recap of Season 1. A lot of crazy shit happened. We're going to delve a little bit into the stats. Of course, the playoff picture. We have to go exactly what happened this year. And going into the awards, of course, the big award winners, the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, you name it, we're going to cover it here. Of course, stay tuned, 5 Eastern. Set an alarm clock. Stay tuned to the Discord. We're doing a live draft coverage of the entire draft, not just the first round, the entire draft. So please stay tuned, man. We're gonna drop the link for you guys. So yeah, without further ado, we're just gonna get right into business real quick. We're gonna cover the games of the playoff picture that previously just happened, and yeah, a lot of upsets. A lot of upsets happened this year. We're not going to waste any time. We're going right to the postseason wild card, the first round. Perk 2K, YouTube of the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New York Jets, and the Jets, really impressive season, mind you, with the New York Jets with such a depleted roster of talent overall. Of course, they're underdogs going up against the big mans and the Kansas City Chiefs, who barely made the playoffs this year, mainly not due to lack of talent, but you know, some missed games here. But obviously Perk made it. Came 24-7 victory as the Jets couldn't do anything except score in the third quarter here, totaling 101 yards of total offense. Just complete lockdown game for the Kansas City Chiefs here. And the Jared Goff, despite the big W, struggled mightily. 247, a touchdown, 3 INTs, 11 for 21. Not the most impressive game for Jared Goff, the 4-year pro out of Cal. But Sam Darnold, likewise for him. Pretty solid season leading the Jets to the playoff, but 152, 3 INTs, a QBR of 18.9. Just not going to get the job done in the first round of the playoffs. 10 of 26, sacked 6 times under duress the entire game. But Leonard Fournette, 18 for 76. As for Le'Veon Bell, only 4 touches, 8 yards. So, yeah, New York was behind the entire game. Still couldn't play catch-up. As for Tyreek Hill, going over 2K this season, you expected him to do this in the first round of playoffs. 5 catches, a $177, and a touchdown. Doing major things, of course, in the Kansas City Chiefs. And for Jameson Crowder, 2 catches for 57 yards leading the way. And receiving yards for the New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell, 4 touches on the ground, 6 through the air for 48 yards. Outside of that, pretty quiet game, receiving and offensively, on both sides of the ball. Pretty quiet game. As we go to the defensive side of the ball, of course, who do you expect to wreak havoc the most? Aaron Donald, the best defensive lineman outside of this league, with the exception of J.J. Watt, of course, who we'll get to very shortly. 4 sacks for him on that day. As we go to the INT column, Trevor Williams with 2 picks. Pierre Desir with 2 picks. Corners locking up in New York. But just wasn't able to get the job done offensively with Sam Darnold at the helm. Willie Gay Jr. with a pick as well. Any defensive touchdowns Doesn't look like it here.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I had a defensive touchdown with Earl Thomas. It's just not showing up.
Of course. Just newly traded Earl Thomas to the Philadelphia Eagles. But defensive touchdown for him in this game. He'll be sorely missed in Kansas City. 3 of 4 for Harrison Buckner, kicking wise, and Ashton Davis with the lone touchdown for the New York Jets, 107-yard kickoff return. But obviously didn't make the difference in this one as the Kansas City Chiefs move on to the divisional round and Jets go back home as they continue to build with a pretty young roster. As we go here to the second matchup, Prejon PJ of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Hoodie Mikey of the Arizona Cardinals. Buccaneers with such a talented roster and Tom Brady age reset leading the way, taking on a impressive former Heisman Trophy winner, Kyler Murray, throwing over for 4,000 yards, rushing for nearly 1,300 yards this season. Big numbers from Kyler. And this is pretty much what we expected the entire way. 346 total offensive yards gained for Kyler as opposed to 230 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you see here by the box score, Buccaneers could not get anything going in the second half. They only scored a touchdown in the first, and that's all she wrote. 31-13 final score here in Arizona. Kyler, 202, 2 touchdowns, 9 of 12, a QBR of 156.2, nearly perfect. Very good stuff from Kyler Murray, as usual. Tom Brady, on the other hand, the GOAT, struggling mightily despite the weapons that he has surrounded around him. QBR of 38.8, a $160 passing, 3 INTs, 14 of 24. GOAT just couldn't get the job done in Florida. As for Nick Chubb, big weapon, 13 carries, a $105, and a touchdown, doing what he usually does. Rojo, 11 for 69 and a touchdown, leading the way for Tampa Bay. Kyler getting it in as usual, 59 total rushing yards for him on the ground. Other than that, I'm going in the receiving column. 3 catches, the $115, 2 touchdowns for Christian Kirk. Big day for him. Ronald Jones getting some work as well through the air, 5 for 51. Other than that, Gronk, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, a little bit of everybody was quiet, surprisingly, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we go to the defense, leading the way in tackles was Micah Hyde, of course, coming over from the Buffalo Bills earlier this season. Eric Berry, 10-year pro, former first-round pick from the Tennessee Volunteers, Eric Berry, leading the way in sacks. Noah Dawkins with a sack, Hassan Reddick, Corey Peters, Josh Jones, of course. As we go to the INT, Eric Berry, Budda Baker, Isaiah Simmons. Of course, you expect a defensive touchdowns from the speedy first-round pick, Isaiah Simmons. Other than that, complete shutout by the Arizona Cardinals. Just locked up PJ in his offense. Hopefully, I know PJ is looking to move on from Tom Brady. So if anybody's interested in Tom Brady, he is currently on the block. Even though he's age reset, 96 overall, you're going to have to cough up a lot for the GOAT. But Arizona moving on to second round. As we go here, this was kind of a big upset. Tennessee Titans all along with MVP Derrick Henry and Cam Newton, of course, deadly duo. Kind of being upset. Go ahead.
I should let it an upset. I'm not calling nobody out. It's not no disrespect to nobody. Tennessee though was on a losing streak before the playoffs, so I don't think nobody really expected him to beat Liverpool.
Hold on. But shout out to my nigga Kiddie Pool. You know the vibes.
Kiddie Pool doing his shit. Kiddie Pool doing his thing.
He definitely did his thing though. He really did.
Yeah.
But that's all I wanted to say. Derrick Henry didn't really have a big second half. I think that he solidified MVP when Devontae went down, but he didn't.
Wow.
He didn't live up to it afterwards, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, looking from the box score here, just you would have thought about what the Tennessee Titans did all season long, that they were coming in hot and ready, but a bit of a cold streak leading the playoffs, and it definitely didn't go anywhere against Liverpool. 28 points in the first quarter. It was nearly done in the first quarter. 28 points by Liverpool. Other than that, 42-21, big victory at home for the Cincinnati Bengals here. And we'll see exactly what happened. Joe Burrow, former Heisman Trophy winner and first overall pick, 224, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was 4 touchdowns off of 4 completions. That is insane. That is insane. He had a yards average per attempt, 37.3. Nearly 40 yards per completion. That is insane. But Cam Newton, former Heisman Trophy winner himself, struggling mightily in his 9th season with the Tennessee Titans. Buck 24, a touchdown, 3 INTs, 8 of 16, just completing 50% of his passes. Could not get anything done against the Bengals. But Joe Mixon outdoing Derrick Henry, this year's MVP. 21 carries, a buck 96, 2 touchdowns, showing who might be the better overall back. Who knows? Derrick Henry, though, putting up some numbers as well, as he is the offense for the Titans. 19 carries, a buck 24, and a touchdown, per usual numbers for Henry. But AJ Green, just crazy numbers out of the Bengals. 2 catches, a buck 24, 2 touchdowns. John Ross, 2 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nearly identical numbers for the duo in Cincinnati. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Other than that, it was a pretty quiet day for the Tennessee Titans on both sides of the ball. Only a sack and a half for Carl Lawson. Pick department, Jayon Brown, William Jackson, Jesse Bates, and Trey Waynes, of course, the league leader in picks, if I'm not mistaken. That might be Devin White or Trey Waynes. Might be a toss-up between the two. Defensive touchdowns, of course, you expect one Jayon Brown for the Tennessee Titans. But, yeah, pretty much a complete blowout from start to finish as Cincinnati moves on to the second round here. And, yeah, Shaq taking on Cart of the Green Bay Packers. This was definitely a good matchup. This was definitely one that I was looking forward to heading into the playoffs, especially waiting for the second round. But this one was kind of said and done. White had 17 picks. Waynes had 12. Yeah. If any, did Devin White win Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He won Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That's insane.
Overall, each year for him.
But surprisingly, yeah, 2 tough opponents, if I'd say so for myself, playing both of these guys. But this one was kind of said and done coming into halftime. Going into the second half, 21-3 heading into halftime. But, yeah, Shaq putting up 6 points in the fourth quarter to make it 21-9, the final score here. Aaron Rodgers, though, of course he struggled quite a bit. A buck 69, 3 INTs, 10 of 17, struggled through the air. Russell Wilson, a buck 24, touchdown, 3 INTs for himself, 11 of 17. Nearly identical numbers for both the Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Corey Grant, though, 13 carries for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Nothing was done on the ground for Kenyon Drake, Chris Carson, or Russell Wilson. That run defense definitely clamped some things up for the Green Bay Packers. Devontae Adams, 4 catches, a buck 02. Getting to the end zone for the Seattle Seahawks was Greg Olsen, the veteran, longtime veteran of the former Carolina Panthers. As we go here, sack department real quick, Zadarius Smith leading the way with 4 for the Green Bay Packers, and Jair Alexander leading the way with 2 picks, as well as Bobby Wagner, Quandre Diggs, Shaquille Griffin, and Oren Brooks with some picks on the board as well. As we get to Jair Alexander with a lone defensive touchdown. Any field goals in this game? Just one from the Seattle Seahawks. But other than that, surprising upset, in my opinion. I definitely had Seahawks winning this one. But that clears the picture up a little more as we get to the divisional round here. Perk 2K of the Kansas City Chiefs taking on APAS 12 of the Houston Texans here. So since we have you here in the building today, Perk, what exactly happened this game?
I lost. I couldn't guard corner and drag routes.
Is that like his recipe? Is this his bread and butter?
Yeah. And my user, I kept messing up.
Shit. Yeah, because there was a point in that game. It was definitely
I was
definitely
winning.
close. It was a very close game. I just feel like second half Perk isn't Perk that anybody wants to really see because he's terrible. Just second half Perk is not a good Perk, bro. It's one of the worst ones. But it was a very close game, bro. I was in a party with Perk when he was playing. A close game.
Yeah.
Just came down to executing on defense. He just didn't do it.
Yeah, Houston, obviously Deshaun Watson and that trio that he has at receiver with Kenny Stills, Will Fuller, and Brandon Cooks, all speedsters. Very hard to keep up with them.
Lewis says someone invite the new Lions user. Per, could you do that?
I don't know about him.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, bet. Speaking of Deshaun Watson, 397, 3 touchdowns, 29 and 38. Fantastic game from Deshaun Watson. Pretty flawless for him. Jared Goff nearly there despite the interception that might have cost him the game. 332, 3 touchdowns, and a lone pick, 13 of 17. So low key, Jared Goff did more on less completions than Deshaun Watson, but the defense definitely faltered in the second half. Leonard Fournette, 10 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. Duke Johnson, 10 for 38, 2 touchdowns for him, the former Cleveland Brown and Miami Hurricane. But Tyreek Hill, of course, when it's playoff time, he shines at most. 10 catches, 303, 3 touchdowns, 303 yards in the playoffs. Pretty insane. But Will Fuller, 8 catches, a $148 for himself, and Brandon Cooks, 10 catches, a $120, 3 touchdowns, per usual for the Houston Texans. As we get to the sack department real quickly, Leonard Williams, superstar, former first-round pick and 4th overall pick for the USC Trojans, 2 sacks for him as well. A sack for Aaron Donald as usual. Bradley Roby with a pick as well. Not a lot of defensive efforts in this game. Pretty much a shootout the entire way. Joey Sly with a lone field goal attempt made in this one. No returns whatsoever in this game. None. But 28-45 final score in Houston as Houston advances to the AFC Championship game. Before we get into my game, Perk, how do you feel about coming into this draft? Did you sign any key guys that felt that your roster would be way better than what it was this past season? And what is
my cap is ass, but I make trades.
Facts. You feel like you gotta
JJ Watt. They had a JJ Watt instead of Calais Campbell. I feel like
JJ Watt on that other end. That's all I got to say.
Right, Watt and Donald, deadly duo. If you're in the AFC or especially the AFC West, be on lookout.
Probably might want to watch out for those two.
Right, might want to invest in some
Draft
superstar tackles. Facts. Yeah, heading into the next game here, a bit of an upset here, man. A bit of an upset as the Green Bay Packers coming in hot into the playoffs. Kind of an upset over Shaq, going against the 16-0 Philadelphia Eagles, seemingly unstoppable, putting up 47 points per game. In this one, just could not get the job done. A defensive game all around. Final scores you see here, 14-7. Green Bay able to score in the third quarter. Philly wasn't able to do a thing. Just the run defense with the running offense that you've seen all season long from Devontae Freeman and Miles Sanders. Just could not get anything going against this Green Bay Packers team. That's credit to the Green Bay Packers defense from learning from their efforts from their regular season matchup. Carson Wentz, so 73 passing yards, a touchdown, 3 INTs, 8 of 15. Not going to get the job done in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers, though, didn't do much better. Only 31 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs, 5 of 12. Both these guys combining for 5 INTs struggled mightily. Both these guys. Defensive effort all around from both sides. But Corey Grant, the main and lone superstar in this one, 15 carries, a $138. Majority of that coming from a 44-yard run late in the fourth quarter to ice the game on the final drive. Devontae Freeman, though, 20 carries, 59 yards, could not get anything going the entire way. Aaron Jones, 6 for 37 and a touchdown as well. And with the lone receiving touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Ertz right before halftime to make this 7-7. Let's see here, Devin Funchess with a lone receiving touchdown for the Green Bay Packers. Other than that, though, pretty strong defensive effort from both sides of the ball. I know I keep saying it, but if you like defensive games, this is definitely a game you wanted to tune into. Zadarius Smith, big help, also along with Preston Smith in locking up the run for the Green Bay Packers. 3 sacks for the Zadarius. INT department, Jair, Christian Kirksey, Nikel Roby, and Malcolm Jenkins, the former first-round pick out of Ohio State. Any defensive touchdowns? No, of course. Any field goals in this one? No. Other than that, big upset. The 16-0 Eagles go down to a pretty underdog Packers team as they advance to the NFC Championship game. We're almost there, folks. Couple games left. Liverpool of the Cincinnati Bengals with a big upset over the Tennessee Titans, taking on your boy Juju 24. And this, it was a force, right? Or am I tripping?
That's a force?
Wow.
No, it wasn't a force one. It wasn't a force one. It wasn't a force one. They were in the third quarter. Liverpool was up. I think it was 14-7.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had them replay it with 2 minutes left in the first until halftime. Like with the same score and all that.
Wow.
Oh, so the final score is actually 21-14 still.
Yeah.
This,
cool.
If we talking about upsets, this is definitely
Huge.
one of those. Yeah. Liverpool. If you don't know, now you know. Seemingly the youngest user that we have here in the league. Going up against a pretty experienced guy, former league champion in some other leagues. Your boy Juju 24, pretty experienced guy, and the way that he was experimenting with Easton Stick, a pretty dual threat QB, credit to him. But it just didn't work against Liverpool and the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. As you see here, heading into halftime, 7-7 deadlock, but Cincy coming in through late with a fourth quarter touchdown to steal this game, 21-14. But both QBs, they were on one. 195, 2 touchdowns, 17-24 from Easton Stick. As we go to Joe Burrow, 213, 3 touchdowns, 19-29. Those weapons they have surrounded around Joe Burrow, definitely doing a lot for them over there in Cincy. Joe Mixon, 14 carries, 72 yards. Definitely a solid game for him. Eckler, nearly there, 14 carries, 64 yards for him. None of them reaching the end zone, none of them fumbling. Pretty solid game on the ground for both teams. AJ Green, 5 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown as usual. CJ Uzma reaching the end zone. Golden Tate. Wow, Golden Tate on the Chargers when this happened. 5 catches, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Tyler Boyd, 3 for 24, and a touchdown as well. As we go to the sack department real quick, let's show some love on the defense. Geno Atkins, Malik Jefferson, and DJ Reader, with Josh Bynes and Carl Lawson chiming in with half a sack each. No INTs in this one. Pretty perfect game throughout the air from both of these guys. But come fourth quarter, Liverpool was able to persevere. And Michael Bagley, I don't know if it was lag issues but Juju missing 2 field goals in this one, which would have been pivotal heading into the fourth quarter, which would have made a big difference. But looks like
it would have only been a 1-point game.
Yeah, that's in
because it was at 14, he would have had 17. Oh no, it would have been a 1-point game. You're right.
Yeah, that's insane.
21.
We don't know, but had Juju had the ball, he probably would have kicked the field goal instead of going for the TD to tie things up. Who knows? Yeah. But heading into the next game here, as Cincy goes on to the next round to take on the Houston Texans. Green Bay already solidified their spot in the NFC Championship game. Who's going to come out of this matchup as Hoodie Mikey of the Arizona Cardinals taking on Gakwe of the New Orleans Saints, and Kyler seemingly...
Never mind. We'll get into it after. We can get into it after.
Kyler Murray putting up nearly unstoppable numbers. Top 3 MVP candidate. Putting up ridiculous numbers. Looks like nobody could contain him. Looks like he came across the matchup that he definitely didn't want to see as probably the best defensive end duo in the entire league in Everson Griffin and Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
As you see the box score here, heading into halftime.
Hold on. That ain't gonna be the best duo for long.
No. Facts. No one's topping down on JJ. Nobody. Heading into halftime here, as you see, 7-10 score. Pretty close game here. Heading into the third quarter, 24-14. Only a 10-point difference that Arizona needed, but that 10-point spread went to the New Orleans Saints. 34-14 final score here. Gakwe said wrong. He thinks his duo is better than yours, Perk.
Well, I guess we could talk. I mean,
Gakwe's a very good. He's a really good player, right? You know, it's not you can't take nothing away from him. He won the game definitely. It's nothing about that. When you come across Gakwe's team, you notice instantly his defensive line is good. My offensive line ain't good. I ain't making no excuses. I'm just saying, once you look at each line, you'll see a bunch of norms under 75 overall and 181. And then you got whoever. But just like Gakwe said in chat, after our game, he says his running back built him out. His running back was very good. They ain't taking nothing away from him as a player. Like I said, his running back is very good. But if you look at both teams and what they could do, Kyler couldn't do anything because he was getting rushed. Like they weren't. It was not like he's blitzing. He's just rushing. So it was pretty good the way it was. The way this shit played out, it was very good for him, definitely. Respect to Gakwe.
Yeah, I got a hot take. You
gotta shoot away.
I'm gonna say this right now. Both of y'all niggas is ass. Perkin 5.
Perkin 5. You heard it here first. All right, let's go through the stats real quickly so we get to everything else, because once again, if you're watching this draft in half an hour, set a timer, be here, be on the game, man. And we're gonna do draft coverage, so stay tuned live. We're gonna announce pick by pick. We're gonna give our pick by pick analysis. We're gonna have the whole crew here, so definitely stay tuned for that, man. This will be a different stream link, so I will end this one and we'll drop another link for draft day coverage. So please, once again, stay tuned, set your alarm clocks, stop whatever the fuck you're doing, and you're definitely not going to want to miss this. Get into the stats real quickly. Once again, Kyler Murray, solid game, pretty alright game. 168, not the most passing yards, but 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs, probably hurt, 8 of 16, 50% of his passes, but the 7 sacks, you know who contributed on that end. Jameis Winston, though, not good. A QBR 45.8, nearly identical to his passing yards, which is only 60. His longest pass the entire game was only 18 yards, so you know exactly what the offenses were going to in this one. 6 of 9, playing it safe in this one, and yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this season. 17 carries, 220, 3 touchdowns. Helaire had a big game. The former LSU Tiger. Kyler Murray, though, usually known for his rushing ability in this one, didn't really get much going. 4 carries, 38 yards. Pretty alright, but yeah, just can't get anything going. Nick Chubb, 12 carries, 14 yards, which is kind of a bit insane. Just nearly a yard per carry. Great run defense by Gakwe. Other than that, we're going to the receiving end. A lone bomb to Christian Kirk for 50-yard touchdown. Clyde Edwards doing damage on the ground, doing damage through the air, with the most receptions and receiving yards for the New Orleans Saints, 4 for 43. Max Williams with 2. Other than that, none. Just not a game. If you're a big passing fan, not a game you want to tune into. Sheldon Rankins, 3 sacks, 2 for Everson Griffin, and where's Cam Jordan? This is kind of crazy. No sacks from Cam Jordan. Looks like it was a Sheldon Rankins show in this one.
That motherfucker was double teamed the entire game. That's why. Double teamed the entire game.
Former first round pick from Louisville, just showing up, showing his potential. Yeah, Gakwe, arguably the best overall defensive line of season 1. We'll see if that remains the case for season 2. But
don't fucking worry. Donald and JJ gonna have 20 sacks apiece.
This guy.
Don didn't even get 20 sacks in this season.
That was because he was double teamed all season and Calais was eating dick. Don't worry.
Darnell Savage, Chris Westry, and Kyle Duggar with some picks. I don't believe any defensive touchdowns in this one. As a matter of fact, there was Kyle Duggar with a lone INT return for 25 yards. Other than that, Will Lutz with 2 field goals, 2 for 2. And Gakwe going to the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers in Cart as we go to the postseason championship conference game. Blowouts from each end. What happened here? Jesus Christ. Liverpool seemingly unstoppable as the underdog here. A lot of momentum going on his side, but Deshaun Watson and company Liverpool did not have an answer in here. The box score, as you see, doesn't indicate the full score here. It was only 20-0 at halftime, as we only can assume they scored a touchdown in the second half to make this 27 zip for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
No, don't look at this. Oh, sorry, Gakwe.
9 passing yards.
Wow. My goodness. Deshaun Watson, perfect game, perfect QBR, 158.3. It should be higher from what you're about to see here. 251, 4 touchdowns, 18 of 18. 100% completion. That is how you play to get your way to the Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson.
Pick him apart.
Oh my God. With the seemingly unstoppable secondary and Trey Waynes and William Jackson and Jesse Bates and etc. Deshaun Watson just at will tore this Cincinnati Bengals team apart. 18 for 18, 4 touchdowns. Credit to him. Joe Burrow, 7.8 QBR. That should tell you how this game went. 38 passing yards, 3 of 9. Did not get anything going in this one. 2 INTs. Joe Mixon bottled up. 13 carries for 52 yards. And a fumble for Deshaun Watson. No matter how good he did throughout the air, he did fumble in this one. Brandon Cooks, though, his favorite receiver. 8 catches, $140, 3 touchdowns. Will Fuller, 5 for 57 and a touchdown. As we go to the defensive side of the ball, obviously there wasn't a lot going on in this one. Jordan Evans, 2. Jesse Bates, Geno Atkins, and Leonard Williams with some sacks as well. Montae Nicholson, free safety, with a lone pick in this one. Any defensive touchdowns? Unfortunately not. That's all she wrote, man. I mean, lone missed field goal by Randy Bullock of the Cincinnati Bengals. It didn't make a difference, though. 27 zip as Houston carries the momentum going into the Super Bowl. Who will they face, though? As you see here, Packers going on the road into the Dome in Louisiana. And Gakwe, don't know what happened in this one, bro. I'm not sure. You might have to do a little explaining in here. We
was told, going by the messages in league chat, it was assumed that man's card over here only ran stretch.
Okay.
That's what Gakwe has said.
Which is believable.
In league chat.
Yeah. Stretch with Corey Grant. That was his bread and butter. That was his go-to. So I could believe that.
Just wait till you get the passing stats. You'll see.
Aaron Rodgers, 61 yards. Another game. If you don't like, if you love passing offenses, this is not the game you want to tune into. If you like defensive games, this might be it.
If you could go for a hot take, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. Gakwe and Cart, they cannot pass the ball. They can't pass the ball. Their problem is passing. So if you play them, stay in run defense. Just no disrespect to them. I just saying, like, I played one of them, and he mainly beat me through the running back.
What he really means is y'all niggas is ass and y'all need a new day job. That's what he's saying.
You see here on the LBC CFM recap, we don't hold anything back. We're brutally honest.
Gakwe said not only the stretch, he said, but a lot of stretch and a lot of fullback.
He runs West Coast, so yeah, that's all he was doing against me. So I completely agree.
So I know now when I play you, Gakwe, I'm gonna kill you at West Coast. Got you. Thank you. All right, now go ahead.
Yeah, Gakwe. So obviously that might be a weakness. That might be something to improve upon. You might want to keep Michael Thomas. I did see that in their trade block. Keep Michael Thomas over Stephon Diggs. Just want to say that. QBR 29.5, 61 passing yards, 4 INTs, 5 of 10 sack 5. Ugly numbers across the board for the former Super Bowl winner, Aaron Rodgers. Jameis Winston, though, 96 yards, a QBR of 5. 5. How's that possible? How is that? That 96 yards, 5 INTs, sacked 4 times, 9 of 27. 27. Could not get anything going throughout the air from neither of these guys. But Corey Grant, the lone superstar who's able to get some numbers on the board, 12 carries for $161, 3 touchdowns. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was hot against Mikey, the Arizona Cardinals, didn't do anything against Cart. 14 carries, 32 yards. Did not get anything going on the ground. Other than that, pretty quiet game throughout the air here. I'm not going to really go over it. But defensive efforts, quite a bit in this one. Everson Griffin, 3 sacks for himself. 3 INTs for Jair Alexander. Devin White, the league leader in INTs. And we'll get to him shortly. Yes, we will. Adrian Amos, Marshawn Lattimore, Alex Azalone, and L'Jarius Sneed, all with picks. Any defensive touchdowns? 2, as a matter of fact, for the former first-round pick out of Louisville, Jair Alexander. Other than that, no special teams, no kicking in this one. All offensive work. As the you see the Super Bowl matchup here, 8-12 of the Houston Texans taking on Cart of the Green Bay Packers. And it was a little bit of this one. I definitely I don't know. I didn't really know who to call in this one. I didn't know how the Texans play. I knew how Cart play, but it definitely.
Yeah, but we're gonna be honest. We're gonna be honest. Almost every Lost Boy not named Jay Dilla had the Texans winning the Super Bowl. That's all we're gonna say. A-Pass, if you're watching the stream, shout out to you. You definitely came through. Literally every Lost Boy. Every Lost Boy knew you were winning the Super Bowl, bro. Just saying.
Except for Jay.
We did.
The fucking op.
Man, I thought I should have known better. This guy, he doesn't run the ball a lot.
Fuck Jay in the chat.
Oh yeah, spam F in the chat. As you see here, man, yeah. As Cart struggled mightily throughout the entire playoffs, not just one game, the entire playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously couldn't do anything against A-Pass. Just 7 points, a lone touchdown in the fourth quarter did not make a difference. 20-7 victory for the Houston Texans here. Deshaun Watson just on fire in this one. 17-23, 2 touchdowns, 262. Aaron Rodgers, despite the 1 touchdown, it was a late fourth quarter rally. Didn't get anywhere. 213, 2 INTs, 14-23. Corey Grant, 14 for 90. Didn't really do much. Brandon Cooks finding the end zone as usual, 4 for $118 and a touchdown. MVS 5 for 93. Davante Adams 5 for 74 and a touchdown. Just the usual suspects. Sack department: Bernard McKinney, Preston Smith, Christian Kirksey, Zadarius Smith, Dean Lowry. Any INTs in this one? Gary and Conley, and Monte Nicholson. Any defensive touchdowns? No. As for Joey Slide, 2 for 2 for the Texans. As that's it. That's all she wrote for season 1. As you see here, your Super Bowl champions, A-Pass-12, the Houston Texans. Congratulations. It'll be interesting to see exactly who will be able to stop him for the AFC. Who heading into season 2? I just want to get a consensus right now. Who do you think are the favorites? Well,
honestly,
it's not all said and done until the draft is done, honestly. But
honestly, if we're going pre-draft,
favorites of what?
Go ahead.
Super Bowl matchup.
I'm going to say if we're going pre-draft, in my opinion, I say the NFC. I don't care if you're in the AFC. NFC is the most stacked, but I still feel like it's definitely a four-headed monster in the NFC. It's you, Jay, me. It's Shaq and Gaku.
Who's you?
Yeah.
I said Jay.
You said you, Jay.
Oh, well,
Fix
Jay,
your grammar.
me, Gakwe, Shaq.
So what's your opinion on the AFC?
The AFC, honestly, it seems like A-Pass is A-Pass. I'm sorry. I know my boy Perk.
I don't see anybody in the AFC. Go hold you. Perk's a contender.
I kept up
Perk's a
with him.
contender, but I don't think nobody showed firepower like Pass.
Yeah. The
Pass
only
has firepower.
the one person who has the ability to do so, I think, is Juju, because he got some lockdown corners in Hayward, Chris Harris, and
if we're going over overall talent, like in who I think is the best in the AFC, not who I think right now.
Yeah.
If you asking me personally, it's Juju. Nobody's better. I feel like Juju's.
he got
even
defense.
if you talk about the league, Juju's top 15, top 5. I mean, top 5, top 4 in the league.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Fact. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Shout out to Gridiron Legends.
But as Jay could slide over the stats real quick and go over the passing real quick. Let me get this done.
Yep. We just covered the playoff picture here. We're gonna go into season stats for a little bit of love to all the individual stars in each category.
Top 5 of each. Yep, top 5. So first, we have Deshaun Watson. Just was talking about pass. He finished the season with 4,800 passing yards, 46 touchdowns, 25 interceptions, and I believe he was top 3 in QBR. That performance for an entire season right there definitely showed worth. He won Best QB of the AFC. Well deserved to him. Sliding in at number 2. Earlier in the season, we did have a user by the name of Big B Stats, or whatever his name is. I believe it's that. He had 4,143 passing yards with Pat Mahomes, 32 touchdowns, a little bit too many interceptions with Pat, but then again, he was traded from Perk to the Los Angeles Rams in a big trade that his uncle definitely does not approve of. However, in return, Percocet himself got Jared Goff, who threw for 4,088 passing yards. He had 41 touchdowns and 30 interceptions on 60% completion. Pretty much a decent, you could call it a good year for him. Despite the interceptions, they made it to the playoffs, and not only to the playoffs, they made it to the, was it divisionals?
Yeah.
Divisional. And in 4th place, we got Matt Ryan, who was, unfortunately, the entire year was computer-based since their user did leave week 4, I believe. He had 4,040 yards passing, 36 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I'm pretty sure that's the best touchdown-interception ratio by someone not named Kyler Murray. So, pretty good year by him. And lastly, my boy Liverpool, Bitch Pool, whatever you want to call him. He definitely conceded a game against the Cardinals. However, Joe Burrow, 3,927 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, 68 completion percentage, and he definitely was up there when it came to QBRs. Pretty good year for him. And the rest of the quarterbacks, feel free to look at those yourself. We are only doing top 5. Going into rushing, Derrick Henry, your league's MVP, which some people would say, no, the dude under him gets it. However, Derrick Henry, 302 attempts, 2,388 yards, 27 touchdowns, no fumbles on the entire year. His longest run broke out for 78 yards. In 2nd place, Devontae Freeman, big year for the back out of, what school he went to? Florida State, usered by Jay Dilla, who absolutely ran him into an injury, which is the main reason he didn't win MVP. He had 257 attempts, 2,336 yards on a 9.1 average and 31 touchdowns. He unfortunately did fumble, but that definitely didn't cause him the MVP. He also had the biggest, I think he had the longest touchdown run, don't quote me on that, so far at 88. He definitely had the longest out of the top 5. After that, we got Saquon Barkley. Pretty sure he had the most attempts out of every running back in the NFL. He ended with 334 attempts, 2,183 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 fumbles, longest run being 84. Dalvin Cook, 270 attempts, 1,591 yards, 5.9 average, 10 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. Corey Grant, Super Bowl player. He definitely showed out this year. 255 attempts. Yes, we can just stretch that out to 1,500 yards. 12 touchdowns, 1 fumble. Longest run, surprisingly, not in the 90s.
Stretch that out. Stretch, he runs stretch. You don't get it? No? Alright.
Alright. However, we are going to do it. We are definitely doing an honorable mention for the biggest slept-on player in the NFL. That'd be one Kyler Murray. Kyler had 126 attempts,
go to receiver.
1,445 yards, 12 touchdowns.
Fumbles.
He definitely fumbled 15 times, but he
had more fumbles than touchdowns. Get him off the court.
He had more fumbles than touchdowns. That is extremely true. He is a quarterback. He's going to fumble. His longest run being 76 yards. Going over to receiving stats, Who else? Tyreek Hill. 87 receptions, 2,139 yards, 24 average, 26 touchdowns, and his longest being 86 yards. Surprisingly, not in the 90s. Let's go to the second person. That would be Will Fuller, the fifth. He had 1,593 yards, 10 touchdowns, longest being 75 yards, average 17 yards per catch. Stephon Diggs, pretty big year for him. He had 1,303 yards, 23.3 average, 10 touchdowns, and his longest being 87. I think he takes the crown for that. AJ Green, the old timer. I don't know if he was age reset. I don't checking right now.
He wasn't.
So a 31-year-old AJ Green still showing that he's one of the league's best receivers. He ended with 1,198 yards, 12 touchdowns, longest being 85 yards. And lastly, DJ Moore of the Panthers. I guess you could say a decent year for him, although at a point he definitely didn't have a user. However, he had 75 receptions, 1,197 yards. He averaged 16 yards per catch, and his longest of the season. Incredibly low compared to some of the other people, 52. Jeez. I would like to also point out that everybody in the top 5 had over 200 more yards downplayed than Will Fuller. Will Fuller, in my opinion, was the best receiver in the NFL this year. Let's go over to defense.
Hold on, what?
Yeah, Will Fuller had
Tyreek Hill.
Talk your shit.
Will Fuller had 200 less downs played, 300 damn near.
But he also had 90 receptions. Tyreek Hill only had 87.
Yeah, he had 90 receptions and he wasn't even on the field. More than that just shows how more effective he was out of Tyreek.
Hey.
When he was on the field, he gets the ball, he makes a play. Tyreek Hill had no choice but to make a play. They traded away the other good receiver they had. However, let's swing this over to defense, not doing sacks and all. We're just going to do the best defensive
let's
players.
not forget the fact that Apez just mentioned he has 3 receivers over 1,000 yards. That's a little insane.
Not only did Will Fuller do what he did, he shared the ball, which is amazing because Tyreek Hill, it was just the Tyreek Hill show over there in Kansas City. However,
it was the Tyreek Hill show.
Let's swing this over to defense. Unfortunately, we will not be doing interceptions. We're going over the best defensive players. And the best defensive player in the league technically is Roquan Smith. He had 124 tackles, 7 sacks, no interceptions. He had 3 deflected passes, 97 solos, which is freakish, and a forced fumble. Pretty big year from him. Deion Jones, once again, just like Matt Ryan, didn't have a user for the beginning, so doesn't really take away from what he did. He had 90 solo tackles, 117 tackles altogether, 3 tackle for losses, 6 sacks, 2 INTs, 7 deflections on the field, 1 defensive touchdown. Pretty big year for him. That's pretty cool. Corey Littleton, my boy Logan, now owns the Las Vegas Raiders, or Oakland Raiders, whatever you want to call them. Corey Littleton, 90 tackles, 117 altogether, 8 tackle for losses, 2 sacks, 1 deflection. He definitely forced 2 fumbles and no touchdowns out of him. A pretty big year for Corey Littleton. Might have an even bigger year next season with Logan now being the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. I'm about to say Los Angeles Raiders. Goodbye. Dante Hightower. Be real with you, my guy Jay Wills definitely didn't play but 2 games, so every other game was a forced loss. That's pretty crazy. However, Dante Hightower, 89 solos, 117 altogether, 8 tackle for losses, 5.5 sacks, 2 INTs, 7 deflections. He had 2 forced fumbles, recovering 1 of them. No defensive touchdowns. Pretty crazy from him. And lastly, the Rook, Devin Bush, 92 solo tackles, 110 altogether. He had 6 tackle for losses, 3 sacks, 2 INTs, 4 deflections, and no defensive touchdowns. So as your top 5 defensive players of the year, go crazy.
Gakwe, I'd like to thank J. Will for not playing. Number 2 overall
he got
pick.
You quit. He definitely got you quitting Nelson, my boy. Yeah, go crazy, bro. He got you quitting Nelson. Alright, kick returners, I don't think we really show that much love to them. By the way, it is time to pass this over to Perk.
You
what? You want me to do kick returners?
You want me to go over sacks and INTs, or you want to?
I mean, you can. I thought it would have took too long. You can. Go ahead.
Alright. We're gonna show some love to some of the best pass rushers in the league, and leading the way was Everson Griffin, just a complete monster this entire season, breaking the NFL single season sack record, 26 for the 10-year pro out of UFC scope. Congratulations to Gakwe. A big reason why he even made it to the NFC Championship game to begin with was this key signing in preseason, week 1. J.J. Watt, formerly of the Super Bowl champions of the Houston Texans, as he deserves, going over to his new home in Kansas City, 25.5 sacks, just half a sack behind Everson Griffin from tying for that record. Hopefully he puts up those numbers with a monster sitting right across from him in Aaron Donald. Fletcher Cox, 21 sacks at the defensive tackle position is nonetheless phenomenal. Coming in 3rd place, tying with Leonard Williams, former first-round pick out of UFC. 21 sacks for him as well. Big year for Leonard Williams. And coming in 5th place, rounding out this top 5, Aaron Donald, of course. Who else did you think? 18.5 sacks for the former first-round pick out of Pittsburgh.
A little bit of a hot take, though. I'm going to be completely honest with you. J.J. Watt was the better defensive lineman than Everson Griffin. By far. He had 6 more TFLs. He had over 20 more tackles. He had more solo tackles. He was by far the better defensive lineman out of those 2. Just saying.
Okay, Gakwe, I know you hear that, and I know you're watching. So plead your case. Plead your case in the comment section.
Plead your case, my boy. While Jay goes over to INTs.
Obviously, Everson Griffin leading the way in the sack department, having the record. Devin White having the single season record for most INTs in the single season. 17 at the linebacker position. Nonetheless, very impressive for the rookie first-round pick out of LSU. Phenomenal season from Devin White. Trey Waynes, the best corner throughout this entire year, winning Defensive Player of the Week about 4 weeks in a row. 12 picks for Trey Waynes, superstar out of Michigan State. Tied for 3rd place is Nickel Roby-Coleman with 11 picks. Also, Jamal Adams, great year from both guys as well. Tying for 4th place would be Landon Collins and Tyrann Mathieu. And for 5th place, there's just a plethora of guys I'll just name off. Will Parks from the Philadelphia Eagles, Shaquille Griffin, Patrick Peterson, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Chuck Clark, and Harrison Smith, the safety out of Minnesota.
Just want to point out, Gakwe said that's not an incorrect statement. I got no case to plead.
Oh, okay. And Apez says facts that J.J. Watt was the best defensive end this season. So a little mutual respect between the 2.
And I guess lastly we do touchdowns.
Yeah, defensive touchdowns obviously leading the way. Devin White with 3, phenomenal. Alongside with Jamal Adams. And 2, there's just a plethora of names at 2 real quick. Dante Jackson, Shaquille Griffin, Kyle Duggar, Trey Waynes, and Sean Murphy-Bunting. And you see the list here. Who doesn't have a defensive touchdown? Other than that, that rounds out for the statistics as we go to special teams real quick. I'm not sure this really matters, honestly. 28-30 for Brett Meyer. Kick returns.
Would like to point out though, Jeffrey Okuda had 1 shot at kick return and it went for a touchdown.
Housed it.
That's sick.
Big facts.
That's sick.
Housed it to the crib. Naheem Hines, I don't need to brag, but led the league in kick return average. You know what I mean? So
Oh my god.
Tyreek Hill leading the league in punt return touchdowns.
He got 1,000
with
yards
2.
at something, people.
Right? Other than that, I think you could take it here, Perk, with the yearly awards.
Alright. The GOAT, doing the GOAT awards as always.
Go to war
No.
status.
You want me to do like the whole list or like the top 2, top 3?
Just do the winners, right?
You could do winners and runners up.
Alright.
Yeah,
As
right.
y'all
Yeah,
can
you
see,
do the first one, right?
for MVP, we got Derrick Henry. He couldn't get it done in the playoffs though, which is an L. But you know, hey, it is what it is, as my friend Logan would say. Alright, and then we got the runner-up, Devontae Freeman. As Mikey said earlier, Jay ran him to death. I'm surprised he even came back. So, he didn't deserve MVP either. I'd rather Deshaun Watson have MVP, but that's just me. Alright, as we go to Coach of the Year, we got Jay Diller, not Jay Diller because of copyright reasons. Going 16-0. He needs to change that name too, though. He needs to change that name. But he goes 16-0. And then you got Cliff, which is what he needs to jump off. I'm just kidding. Calm down. Okay. My bad. But you got Mikey, his coach.
Jefferson 7 minutes.
Which is ass. Oh, I gotta speed up. Alright, we're gonna start off with AFC, Offensive Player of the Year, Derrick Henry, and we got Deshaun Watson right after. And then, we got Defense Player of the Year, J.J. Watt from the Texans, but it says he's on the Chiefs, he's not really on the Texans. And you got Jamal Adams right after that, which I tried to trade for him earlier, but AM3 said no, sadly. Offensive Rookie of the Year, J.K. Dobbins, by a dude that quit the league. Not Logan, though. It's somebody else. But and then you got Joe Burrow as the runner-up. Jeff, I'm going to pass for you. I'm sorry. Defensive Rookie of the Year, my boy Willie Gay Jr. And then Ed Oliver is the runner-up. And there goes Shaq.
Timing.
Shaq's here.
Perfect timing.
And then best QB, we got Deshaun Watson and Jared Goff. With Jared Goff's the runner-up, Deshaun Watson number 1. Best running back, Derrick Henry. Runner-up is Austin Eckler. Best wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. Runner-up, best wide receiver, and Mikey's terms is Will Fuller, but you know Tyreek's a GOAT, so he's number 1. Best O-line, Mitchell Schwartz and Ronnie Stanley. Best D-line,
AFC first, or you did NFC already, or is this?
No, I did AFC first. Leonard Williams and hold on.
All right, while we technical difficulties on Perk end.
I got you. What was that? Best defensive line?
Yeah.
Alright, so we have J.J. Watt coming in at number 1, like I said, and altogether he was the best defensive lineman this season. Runner-up for him is definitely Leonard Williams. At the time, both of them
Alright, I'm back.
So...
Mikey, you need my job back. We got Leonard Williams, a bucket. Clearly.
I already did them.
Best linebacker. We got Von Miller. Do we have a Bronco? Yeah, we had Big Black Dad. It was a big Hispanic dad.
No, it's Big Black. It's Big
Black Dad. And we got Jordan Willis. I don't even know who Jordan Willis is. Don't at me.
Surprising.
Yeah. Best DB. We got Trey Waynes and Jamal Adams. Well, Trey Waynes number 1, Jamal Adams number 2. And then best kicker, Chris Boswell. And we got Harrison Butler from the Chiefs. As we go to NFC, Offensive Player of the Year, Devontae Freeman. Runner-up, Kyler Murray. Defense Player of the Year, Devin White. Everson Griffin is the
crazy
runner-up. Offensive Rookie of the Year, K1, or as Mikey would like to say, get loose, K1 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Runner-up, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we got Devin White, and Jelani
Tavai.
Y'all got it. Yeah. What they said. Yeah, y'all heard them. Best QB.
Absolute robbery at best QB. Carson Wentz and Kyler Murray. Matter of fact, even skip Aaron Rodgers. The best QBs in the NFC was Carson Wentz and Kyler Murray.
All I want to say was Carson 202 completions, 229 attempps.
All I want to say is Kyler Murray. All I want to say is Kyler Murray. 1,300 passes. 1,300 rushes.
3 minutes.
Alright, come on.
Devontae Freeman, best running back. Saquon, runner-up. Devontae Adams, Best wide receiver, Adam Thielen is the runner-up. Best O-line, Jason Kelsey. Oh, 2 Eagles and Lane Johnson.
You see 3 of them things.
Best D-line,
Dang, 3
Everson
in the top
Griffin and
5.
Fletcher Cox. I tried to trade for Fletcher Cox also. Best linebacker, Devin White and Zadarius Smith.
Definitely.
Best DB, Nickel. Why do I always forget
Nickel
his
Roby
name?
Coleman. Nickel
Yeah,
Roby
and Landon Collins. And then for kicker, we got Graham Gano and Matt Prater.
Alright, guys,
Alright.
that wraps up. You got the Lost Boy League's very flat. Well, this is our season ending recap featuring Jay, Perk, and a little bit of Logan. Logan
Come
talked
on,
like
Logan,
2.
give your hot take, my nigga. Hurry up. You got 2 minutes. Give your hot take.
Matter of fact, who
Matt.
Logan? Who needs the draft the most? What team needs to win the
Him.
draft?
Logan. 100%.
Well, y'all heard it
I
here.
traded.
Draft is about to start in 2 minutes. Definitely be sure to check out V Henny Jr. because he's the one streaming
On
the draft,
Twitch,
giving his opinions on certain picks, giving his opinions on certain things that the league is on its way doing, and good shit, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to J Stream. Be sure to subscribe, turn on post notice.
The final stream
Thank
of
you.
season
Thank you.
1.
Hold on. I got
Lost
my
Boy
post
gang,
notice
boy.
on. Do you?
Lost Boys. We out. Play the music,
Alright.
Jay.
Alright. Well,
Play the music.
Play in the stream. Oh. Yes, sir. We're going.